This is the Roundtable on Dawg Post. We're going to give you, forget all the preseason publications. Everybody's seen all that stuff. We're going to give you what we think. Josh, you've been around this thing for a while. Matthew Stafford. Let's talk about the quarterbacks first. Matthew's going to get the lion's share. He's the starter. He's got a lot of expectations, Quentin. Josh, where are you with Matthew?
I'm on board. I'm fully on board. I'm so on board with Matthew that I almost resent all the no-shine talk. Matthew Stafford is the best football player on that offense. He is going to be an NFL-type player. He is going to be an extremely high draft pick. No-shine is great, don't get me wrong, but Matthew Stafford is what makes the offense go. He's as talented a quarterback as they've ever had here, and I think he will have a very good season.
Logan Gray's going to play some, Quentin. Do you think that will mess with any sort of rotation? Could that rotation screw things up? I mean, I don't know that it's even a rotation. I say rotation. Right. That may be inaccurate.
No, I think Stafford's a veteran now. He's coming into year 3. He's played in a lot of big games. I don't see that messing him up. I'm with Josh. I'm on board. I think he's solid, and I think he'll be fine no matter what. Which way Coach Rick decides to take that thing with Logan Gray.
All right, so no one here is replacing Matthew as a starter. Okay. No. All right. Well, all right. Yeah. No-Sean Moreno, one of the most explosive backs. I guess a Heisman candidate. I don't know. They're not pushing that at Georgia. Very hyper guy, a guy who likes to compete. Matt, your thoughts on No-Sean Quentin?
A lot of fun to watch. Very, very explosive. I think his hyperness is what makes him appeal to the media and to fans, and partly is what's going to get him on that Heisman watch that you're going to see on the ESPNs and all that. I personally don't think he'll get enough carries to be a part of that Heisman watch, but a great football player, a great running back, maybe the best running back in the country.
Okay. I don't know that I can disagree with that. I can't think of a ton of guys off the top of my head. All right, so what does that mean for Caleb, Josh?
Caleb will get his share of carries, particularly for a freshman. I mean, now everybody loved No-Sean when he wasn't the guy. Now No-Sean's the guy, and suddenly everybody seems to love Caleb. They need to let No-Sean get the carries, and Caleb's turn will come. Caleb should definitely be the second string back, and the second string back at Georgia has gotten plenty of carries. He'll get plenty of opportunities.
Could Caleb get 600 yards this year?
Yeah, absolutely. If he takes advantage of his.
That's about. Where is the break even? Where is the over under?
I think if he got 600 yards, he should consider that a fantastic season. I agree with Quentin's point. This offense is going to be very balanced. I don't think No-Sean will be a Heisman candidate by week 5 because he's not going to put up spectacular numbers. Just like Matthew, despite his talent, is not going to put up spectacular numbers. If Caleb gets 500-600 yards, he ought to be thankful for that.
They are balanced. And let's talk about the wide receivers. I'll start with Josh. Muhammad coming into a final year, it's a payday year. I mean, he's got to show the NFL that, hey, I need to be drafted. I need to be drafted as high as I can get drafted. There's some other guys. Chris Durham, I think, has come along. The wide receivers for you, Josh, they have disappointed in the past, but they really picked it up from about the midpoint from that last season on, it seems. Yeah,
they played pretty well, and they got a ton of guys who can play. They still got a ton of guys who look really good out there. Muhammad is a very, very solid wide receiver. I think he could play in the NFL as a third-type possession receiver. I think has improved on his blocking. He's a pretty thick fella. I think he will have a very consistent year, but we have certainly seen some disappointing senior years from receivers around here, and we've seen some disappointing times from all of these receivers. I think people still are very wary, maybe rightfully so. But as a group, they did make some big plays, particularly Muhammad in that Florida game. Maybe they don't.
And the Auburn game.
They may not. Auburn pretty good. They may not beat Florida if he didn't take that one 80 yards, which is sort of out of character for him because he's not really a speed guy. But I think he could have a very nice year.
So then where are these young guys? Everybody's talking about A.J. Green. Man, he looks like the real deal. And then you got Tavares. You swear those two guys are going to play, Quentin?
Yeah, I don't see how you – A.J. Green just such a special talent. I don't see you keeping him off the field. Right. If he can even remotely come close to doing at Georgia what he did in high school, then he's going to play. He is a playmaker, but they've been here before. Can he do it? On this field here? I think he can. Tavares King is going to get himself on the field by doing the little things, special teams. He's going to be a blocker. He's a guy of light since I saw him in spring ball. I just think he's so coachable that he's going to find his way on the field. field.
What about tight ends, Josh? I mean, they're not really offensive line. They're not really wide receivers. They're tight ends. I mean, so where are you with Tripp? Where are you with Figgins? Those guys are pretty talented, pretty big guys.
They are, and they will get big catches. They will not get big numbers. They will get a big catch here or there. You might remember each of them having a catch or two that really makes a difference, and they'll have to settle for that. I think the rest of the weapons on this team, I just don't think they'll get consistent use except blocking.
The offensive line is going to start the year, Quentin, with at least 2 suspensions against Georgia Southern and then Central Michigan. So what does that mean for the Carolina game when those guys get, when Bowling comes back, etc.?
Well, you're taking a group that started out that was mediocre to sub-mediocre last year and really turned into a solid offensive line. The suspensions, anytime you're missing kids, especially on that offensive line, I think it's going to hurt. Do I think they've got enough to get through that period? Yeah, I do. Continuity on the offensive line is the thing, and you saw it last year as those guys were together more. They got better and better and better. I think by game 4 or 5, you're going to have a very, very good offensive line, and hopefully you can get through those first few games with what you do have.
All right, I'm going to ask you because I think that we've danced around this a ton, and here's my question for you, Josh. We're 6 weeks or so away from it here. Is Ben Jones going to start the first game or not? For me, I say yes.
I say no.
Why?
I didn't hear enough about him in spring practice. I don't feel like he, because of injury, made as much as he could have of that time, and I don't see him closing the gap in fall ball with Chris Davis. Now, maybe.
What if Chris is sliding over for Clint?
Right, but then you've got Justin Anderson is still in that mix. Vince Vance is still in that mix. For me, it's no. For me, I don't think he is close enough to close the gap in the month that he'll have.
Is Ben going to start this year?
I think he may start a game or two. I think he may, but like Quentin said, once you get an offensive line rolling, they don't like to make changes. Clint Bowling has hurt himself, I fear, as much as I hate to say it, by missing 2 games. He may, by the time he comes back, if they're rolling pretty good, he may be the odd man out.
Yeah, I don't think so. But with that said, we'll wrap up the offensive preview from Dawg Post. This has been the Dawg Post Roundtable. On where else? Dawg Post.